this is going to be your bonus reading for August 2018. And so I'm going to be going into love and relationships, and then your career, jobs, and money, and then your health. So I'll get started. And so I'm going to do a 6-card spread, and I may pick clarifiers. It just depends on what comes out. Be interesting to see if it ties in with your general reading. If you haven't seen your general reading for August on my channel, you might want to check that out too. Okay. This is for love and relationships for Aries rising, sun, and moon sign, and their best, highest good, or the information that they most need to hear. Not necessarily what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. Although it could be what they want to hear. Okay. Let me pick one clarifier and then I'll show you. Okay. Okay, here are your cards, and then I'll start explaining. Your first one on the top is the 2 of Swords. Your second one on the top is the 3 of Pentacles. The third one on the top is the 4 of Swords. On the bottom three, your first one is the Queen of Swords. Your middle one is the Ace of Pentacles. Your third one is the Princess of Cups. And then I picked 2 clarifiers for the last 2, so let me just get into it. Okay. In the past, you were perhaps thinking about making a major decision, but you had a very hard time making this decision, and so you may have waffled about it for a long time. But you're getting to a point now, or in the recent past, where you finally just realized, okay, you know what, I can't keep on going back and forth like this. I have to make a decision one way or the other. And it's definitely a decision that takes other people's considerations into account. The Queen of Swords is a suit card that is ruled by Libra, a minor arcana card ruled by Libra, which is about taking all sides into consideration, or at least both sides into consideration, to make a fair decision or judgment. And she tends to be more cool and calm and peaceful in how she goes about this process. There's a lot of weighing involved before she makes the decision with her scales, Libra scales. And that is an opposite energy of you. This can also be possibly a Libra in your life, or somebody who shows those qualities, that takes other people's considerations into account and weighs things quite a bit before they make decisions. Is a lover of mental harmony with other people, or finding harmony with other people. But perhaps if it is a Libra type individual in your life, could be a man or a woman, even though it's a queen, you have had a hard time making a decision about this, or maybe perhaps they have had a hard time making a decision. about the relationship, or whether or not to pursue a relationship, or to let go of one, or to keep one, or to get into one, something like that. And presently, this looks very nice. Presently, it's the Three of Pentacles above the Ace of Pentacles, which leads me to believe that perhaps you were waiting too long, or the other person was making you wait too long, and you just finally came to a decision that you're just going to pursue what makes you happy anyway, regardless of what's going to happen in that situation. So in the meantime, presently, you're really, looks like you're keeping yourself busy with creative projects or things that you're doing where you really are throwing your skills out there. This can also be going to locations where you're more likely to meet interesting people if you're single. If you're in a relationship, this could mean deciding on future goals with your partner of things you would like to plant or see come into being, and possibly creative, fun things you two could do together. And also to really support each other with your innate talents and gifts, where you both want to see each other do your best with what you're capable of. And something about that is extremely comforting and uplifting in a very solid way, where you feel like you have a foundation with this person. If you're in a relationship, this looks very nice. If you're not in a relationship, it may be that you did have an eye for someone, but nothing was really happening quite with that the way that you would like, or maybe you were undecided about that person, and so you've decided to move on and really focus on what brings you joy and getting yourself out there. So with your future, it's really hot where I am, pardon me. That's the thing about summer and around my birthday. Yesterday was my birthday. It's really hot outside this time of day. Okay. In the future, I see you as possibly taking a mental break from relationships, or from focusing on relationships, in order to get centered and really start mulling over or pondering what you would like to experiment with that would bring you lots of emotional comfort and joy, of what brings you happiness. It feels like you're longing for something more, or you want to bring in more play, more inspiration, and more emotional depth than before in relationships. Or you truly want to feel as though you are completely comfortable to be your truest self with relationships, or in a relationship where you really just want to be yourself completely and feel supported in that process. Where there's a burgeoning of creativity, romance, joy, beauty, going with your heart, feeling comfortable to pursue creative things. Perhaps you're meditating or mulling this over on what would bring this to you. You may also this could be one scenario for one person or a couple of people. You may have an interest possibly in someone who's younger than you, and so you really have to do some thinking on whether or not this is something that you should pursue. Or you could just be having an interest in someone who is a young soul, or a free soul, free-spirited person. That seems very intuitive, sweet, and artistic or musical in some way. But if, this princess is quite genuine, and her sweetness really is real. And so if you do have an interest in someone who is younger than you, I can't necessarily say from here whether or not it would last, although you do have the Ace of Pentacles in the present. But I do see that this person is sincere, so you can definitely count on them to mean what they say, or if they display emotions, that they really do feel that way. So I picked 2 clarifiers to go with those 2 to get a little bit more information. And I got the 8 of Pentacles in with the Lovers. And so this possible new love or resurgence of magic and beauty in your present relationship, if you're in one, you definitely need to make some kind of a major choice involving quality time spent with your partner to balance it out with your career. There's something about your work that maybe you may just be too busy with too many things you have to do in order to maintain money or upkeep of things, where you perhaps may have not been putting as much time as you would like or your partner would like into the relationship. Either that or your partner could be extremely busy with work. And so you really do need to work on balancing work with play or work with relationships where you're feeding each part of your life as equally as possible. And that way your relationship has a much better chance of lasting in the future. So hopefully that helped. And on to the next one, which will be for money, jobs, and career. I'll see you in a moment. Here I am. Okay. Let's do money, jobs, and career. And the reason why I have 2 words for that, jobs and career, is because not everyone has a career, but some people just have jobs. So, or both going on. I know I do. So, okay, this is in Aries, rising, sun, and moon signs, highest good with jobs, money, and career, or just prosperity in general, or manifestation, any way you look at it, really. And I'm going to do 6 cards. This is for Aries, highest good, best highest good, and also anything that they really bad need to hear. My daughter's running around town with a pack of little girls and a puppy, and I have a feeling she's probably going to be away for a little bit. Okay, 6 cards. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to pick 1 clarifier. And maybe 1 to go. This is in Aries, best, highest good, to explain that one. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you the original 6, and then we'll get into it, and I'll show you the clarifiers. Hopefully I can make sense out of this. Your first one on the top is the 4 of Wands. Your second middle one on the top is the 5 of Pentacles. Your final third one on the top is Judgment. You have quite a few major arcanas in here. You have 4, and one of them is a clarifier, so that's quite a bit. On the bottom, the first one of the 3 is the 3 of Swords. In the middle of the bottom is the Fool, which is a very nice card to get. And your final one on the bottom is the Wheel of Fortune. Hopefully you can hear me and I'm not speaking too low. I'll try to speak up. Okay. This looks like a major thing going on in your career or job situation or your money situation. So out of the first 2, in the recent past. In the beginning, you started some kind of a new career or a new job or a new career situation that promised to be able to be added to and grow well over time. You had a stable, good beginnings of a situation, possibly even with a partner, if you happen to have a career with a partner. That obviously isn't going to apply to all of you, but that may be a possibility for some of you, is that you work with your significant other. If you don't, and this is just you, it just means either, it can also mean partnerships, like if you have a business partner or somebody that you started a business with. This can also be a business that you started on your own or working underneath somebody else in their business. And something about this you had great hopes for the future for. You knew that it would be long-standing and solid and dependable and creative too, where you continue to add to it over time. But something about this situation perhaps ended up to be a little bit of a disappointment. Maybe it wasn't as good as you thought it would be. And I'm going to show you the clarifier that I picked to go with the Three of Swords. Here, let me put this one down. Your clarifier for it is the Ten of Wands, which is taking on way, way, way too much, having to do way, way, way too much, having way too many responsibilities or burdens on your back, and possibly even taking other people's burdens on as well as your own. So it looks like in the beginning it seemed so promising and creative and fun, but something about it over time you realize that it involves way, way more work or things you have to do than you thought, to the point where you're exhausted and disappointed in the situation. So presently with this, as well as I'm feeling like if it was way, way too much, a lot of that happened in the past. It's not so much now. Perhaps you've delegated, or you've asked for people's help, or you've gotten more help with it, or it's settled down a little bit where it isn't so crazy and active as it was before. So maybe that part of it has ended, but now you're realizing that it's not really bringing in as much money as you thought it would. And so things may have settled down activity-wise, where you're not quite so laden down with things you have to do, but now you're realizing, okay, not only has it been insane where I've had to do a million more things than I thought I would, and it's stretching my energy thin, but it may not be bringing in as much money or abundance as you thought it would. And this, as a result, is making you think that perhaps you need to do something completely new and let go of this situation. Or if you don't let go of this situation, do it in a completely new way. And a lot of this involves inventive thinking, of not settling yourself into a box either mentally or physically with this, to be completely open-minded and free thinking about how you could shift things to create a new beginning where you feel as though you're inspired, and it may be something that you've never really done before. It may be something that's completely new to you, in which case it feels very exciting, but it also feels like you have no idea how to go about this thing. This might be the Eight of Cups that was in your central experience in your general reading, because I think I remember saying something about how it always reminds me of the Fool. Except this is even better than the Eight of Cups, because he is not hanging back. He's not reluctant. He's not trying to hang on to the past. He's completely embracing the new. It's just he's a complete novice. He's completely new to the situation, so there's no way of telling exactly how it will come about. That's why it's so important to have an open mind and to be flexible. And to also follow the signs along the way and realize you actually have support from the divine on this thing. Perhaps it's a dream that you've always had of something you would like to do. So I pulled a clarifier to go with the Five of Pentacles. and I got the Tower. So let's see if I can maneuver it where you can see it better. So in the Tower, it's saying that if you choose to hang on to the old way of doing this thing, or the old job, if it is some kind of a job or career that you're just completely over and it's not feeding you anymore, or you've outgrown it now. If you try to hang on to this situation out of a fear of not having enough money in the meantime while you go after this new thing, it's meant to crumble the way that it is right now anyway. So I would say do your best to try to prepare. I think there was something in the general reading about having a safety net or a backup plan, while you're jumping out the window or jumping off the cliff or jumping into this new, completely new, amazing experience. It's a weird in-between time, and so you may have to put a little bit of, what am I trying to say? You may have to start thinking about ways to prepare for this thing to fall apart before it falls apart. That's the only way I know how to put it. So now that you've been forewarned, it may even already slowly be crumbling or falling apart, but at least in the very beginnings of this process, take it for what it is and start preparing now. I'm getting something about, I really hope that this isn't true, but I am getting something about a natural disaster or some kind of upset that happens regardless that upsets your business, and you may end up having to move your business to a different location. I'm hoping really hard that that won't happen, but even if it's not a natural, and let's hope it's not, if it's not a natural disaster, it's something to do with the area or something to do with the, what's the word? Economy. The economy of your area may be dwindling or getting less prosperous in itself. Or there may be something about the foundation of this thing you've been working with that is set to crumble. So in the meantime, get prepared. It's kind of like having an emergency. I don't want to freak you out or make you worry, but calmly, positively, without worry or stress, just prepare for this next move. And if you go with this next move, it proves to be an extremely enlightening and amazing experience for you, even though it's completely new. So in the future, you have Judgment over the Wheel of Fortune, which is extremely powerful and large in its meaning because both of them are major arcana cards. Let me pull a clarifier to go with these two just because it's such a large thing. Okay. So in the future, you could have both these situations going on at the same exact time, intermingled, or one or the other could happen. I'm getting that if you don't go with the wheel or go with the shifts and changes, which even though it throws everything off that you have already existing, it actually will be taking you to a place that is much, much better than where you've been, if you can trust the motion of things and go with the wheel. If you resist the wheel out of fear or out of fear, then judgment will happen, which is you're going to have a major wake-up call that leads you to realize, okay, there is no going against the wheel. You kind of have to go with the wheel. If you try to hang on to the old, it's just not going to end up well. And so this doesn't mean that you can't honor the old or take some of the old with you on this new journey, but you want to take as little as possible or what's absolutely essential for you to have. You don't want to carry extra baggage that has nothing to do with this new journey. So this is also feeling your calling. This is being called to do something that is meaningful to you, where you feel like not only is this, okay, let me put it this way. that it's something that you feel is a higher purpose for you, or that feels meaningful, like you're not just making money, you're doing something important, possibly for yourself or other people or the environment, or you just feel like you're evolving and changing in a good way. So anything, when you feel this, you're going to feel this really strongly, by the way. This is a huge wake-up call, so it's not going to be subtle. It's going to be very loud, loud and clear. And so it will be so obvious on what is hindering you or keeping you back from following your true calling, and what helps you with this new journey. So it's going to be a time of releasing and letting go. I think I remember you had death in your foundation or your core in your general reading. So this is another card besides death that is ruled by Scorpio or ruled by the planet Pluto. This is about the dead coming back to life. So there's possibly an old dream you used to have that is coming back to life, that has laid dormant for a long time. There may be things that have passed away a long time ago that you thought you would never feel again or experience again, and now they're coming back to life. This can also mean that there are certain things that need to die or to be let go of in order for you to truly follow this path or this calling. But either way, this is a huge deal. This feels like, for some of you watching, or maybe a number of you, that this is your life's purpose or what you came here to do. Or this is something you've always wanted to do, and now is the time to actually do it. So I pulled a clarifier to go with those two, just to kind of narrow it down a little bit to a lesser degree, something that isn't so huge. So I got the Knight of Cups, which definitely is clearly telling me that the most important thing for you to do in the future is to follow your heart and follow your bliss and your joy, and to be your genuine self, and realize there is nothing in the way from you to be able to follow your own dreams and to follow what makes you happy. And this may be some kind of creative thing as well, that has to maybe do with drama or art or music or celebrations or something, or working outdoors, working with water, protecting the elements, caring for the environment, for animals, something meaningful and special to you, or feeding people the proper food, something that has to do with not only following your own heart, but encouraging other people's hearts or other creatures' hearts to feel safe and comfortable and loved. This can also be being a listening ear for other people, or being a great help to other people too. So hopefully that made sense or helped in some way or gave you some kind of clarity, and I'll see you next with health. Okay, I'm not going to say I'm back. I know I've been there the whole time for you guys. Okay. This is going to be another 6-card spread for Aries rising, sun, and moon sign for the month of August 2018. And this is going to be for their emotional, mental, and physical health. Ooh, that popped out. That's really nice. We'll see if there are other things that come out that back that up. Okay. This is in Aries' best, highest good, or whatever they most need to hear concerning health. Okay, 6 cards. Whoa. Okay, I'm not getting anything super big about health problems except perhaps stress, irritation, being perhaps a little too quick with words or a little too annoyed in general. but that's more in the future than past or present. So we'll get into it and see what I can get out of this. And keep in mind, this isn't just for physical health. This is for your emotional and mental health as well. So this is telling me that in the past, you needed to have some kind of a vision quest or a time out period to suspend everything so that you could get back in touch with what you really dream or what you really wish, or just receive some visions or inspirations concerning how to proceed from there. And perhaps you had already put something out and you were waiting for a response back, or you had put some initial energy into something that was creative and you started to see results where things were coming back from that process. There may even be something to do in here with traveling, going to other places to get a break, possibly a vacation, or just getting away to some beautiful place possibly, or getting away in your own head and possibly daydreaming more than usual, or visualizing and daydreaming about what you wanted to happen in the future. Perhaps you were dreaming or spacing out a little bit too much, but I'm not really getting that. I'm getting more that your health has been pretty good and that you've really just been daydreaming about what you would like to see come into being even more in your life and where you would possibly like to go. Currently, for your health again looks really good, you guys. You have the Wheel of Fortune, which is ruled by Jupiter. So this being a Jupiter card, your health you should actually be filled with more energy than usual at this time, I would imagine. You would have a lot of energy to pursue and go with the beneficial changes that are happening in your life at this time. You may feel possibly a little bit knocked off center just because of all of the shifts and changes. You may have noticed something like all of a sudden when normally you're graceful, all of a sudden you're clumsy and you're bumping into things or tripping over your own legs. That's usually a signifier of that things are changing in your life, and it's just a minor adjustment period where you have to adjust and get used to the shifts that are happening, where your normal center of gravity is kind of thrown off temporarily through the shifts that are going on. And this could also be something like extremes of highs and lows. Like, for instance, normally when you're pretty balanced with temperature, your body's temperature, all of a sudden you're getting really cold and then you're getting really hot for no reason. Or if you normally have a great deal of energy, all of a sudden you have a ton of energy where you're super high at times and then you're super low and have hardly any energy and feel tired at other times. It's like a swinging back and forth, or oscillating, I guess is the word. Oscillating because things are changing so dramatically, internally and externally, where things are needing to kind of rock back and forth a little bit before they get back into balance again. And for the most part, health-wise, I see you as possibly even doing some kind of a new routine presently, like a new routine or a new habit that you've picked up to best regulate your energy, which leads me to believe you're really doing a lot to take care of yourself, perhaps because you have a lot of things you have to do, and so you can't have health issues right now because you have too many things you have to take care of. And so I really do see you as taking very good care of yourself. Perhaps you picked up a new practice or a new habit that is beneficial for you, that kind of gives you a sense of regularity with time passing. Like every morning you get up and have a cup of tea and say a little prayer, or every afternoon at 4 you go out for a short walk with your dog, or just little things like that. Or every evening recently you've been taking saltwater baths to ground yourself out. You know more than me on what this is, but I definitely feel like you're doing You're doing little things here and there to really ground yourself out and to help you with this oscillating feeling that's going on with your body's levels. I don't know how else to put it. So it could also be saying that your time of being alone is coming to an end, where you're about to get a lot more social than usual or work with other people more than usual, in which case it is important for you to have those periods of alone time where you really focus on doing something good for your body or your mental health. Okay, so in the future, I see you as possibly getting impatient and irritable because you need to see some kind of movement happen with some kind of choice you're making or something that you have put out there and you're waiting for a response back. And I'm looking at this one right now. I'm going to show you what you had in the past. What you had in the past was this feeling of that you had already sent something out and you got something back that led you to believe that things were going someplace and it could grow from there. Hypothetical situation that would be a good analogy for this type of feeling is somebody who's thinking of starting an export business, and she just sent off her first shipment of exports. And she got news back saying that they did really well and sold, and she made a bunch of money. And so now she's thinking of expanding. That's just a hypothetical scenario. But in your health department, this maybe says mentally, emotionally, and physically you felt like you were going someplace or things were shifting for the better, and that you saw movement happening, which encouraged you. But something about the future is making you feel like things are backsliding or you're back to the first step before that happened. So maybe you're experiencing some minor doubts about this of is this really something that I should count on or believe in? Maybe it isn't as good as I thought it was. And so that's making you irritated. Or something about it being at a standstill or a waiting period where you're in between the worlds or in between action things or in between signs that come to you through actual things happening that you can see, taste, touch, and feel. Proof that things are going to go well. That's slow in coming right now. Maybe things are just held off temporarily because of all the retrogrades. You have to review some things first or put up some safety nets before you go head straight on into the horizon. But something about this waiting or mulling things over or having to rehash old stuff is making you feel really impatient and irritable and just annoyed. And so the only major health issues besides oscillation of like energy levels or whatever that stuff is, of extremes with your body, I'm also seeing irritation, impatience, just feeling frustrated. So let me pull a remedy to see if there's anything you can do to help you not go off on other people accidentally or just to mess your own energy up. So the best thing for you to do as a remedy is to weigh the pros and cons, weigh things first before you make a major decision, and also try to be as fair as you possibly can with other people and try to look at things from all sides of the matter, or at least two sides of the matter, if not more, and to really take other people's viewpoints, opinions, and advice or problems into account with a rational, peace-seeking mind. And as long as you really truly focus on that and try not to get impatient with people, then you should have a very good outcome. You should see things start to move with your health. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully that helped. And I hope you have a wonderful August. I wish you all the best with everything you're trying to do. And I really admire you guys' courage and ability to go after what you want. Sometimes it's a great inspiration for someone like me. Being such a severe empath, sometimes I have a hard time just having that, what would I call it? Self-awareness or awareness of my own needs, or that it's okay to go after what you want. There's nothing wrong with that. Every now and then I have Neptunian moments where I have a hard time with that. So you guys are real leaders for me and have taught me so much about speaking up and knowing what I want and how to go and do it and take those actions. So I hope that this helped in some way, and I'll see you next time. Okay.